Hey guys, this is Matt. Just wanted to show y'all what I'm doing here. I'm making a new jig for grinding, doing flat grinds and maybe even hollow grinds depending on how it works out. Now, I don't know if you can really see my drawing that well. It's kind of the rough idea of what I'm going for. I'm going to have a set screw or an adjustment screw here in the middle so you can adjust the pitch on the whole thing with just one little thumb screw, which will be that, like 98 cents from Home Depot or Lowe's. And it's based off of some ideas from other jigs I've seen with the knife holding bolts there, and I'm going to do some various patterns of pins. I didn't feel like making a bunch of circles there, but just a bunch of holes for support pins that can be pushed in and removed there. And the basic materials I got, just some 2x2 angle and a 2-inch bar and a piano hinge, and of course the various screws and whatnot for the finishing out of it. But I'm going to go ahead and put down the camera, and I'm going to mark my holes and start drilling some holes for my hinge first. So now I've got all my holes on the bottom, on the base piece marked and peened. You can't really see because it's so blurry, but I've got the peen on each of the holes, and I'm going to go and drill those out. Unfortunately, the bit for this for the number 632 is too small for my drill press. It won't fit in there, so I'm going to have to do it by hand. Hopefully I can keep it straight enough that my threads will end up useful. Alright, so I've got my holes drilled. Next I'm going to clean up the face of it a little bit with a file so that the hinge can sit flush against there. I'm not too worried about the back side, where the burrs are hanging out, because after I thread it and put the hinge on, I'm going to have to grind down this back side so that it's all flat, because that's the part that's going to actually slide across the work table. And of course, got the tap. Going to need one of these. Oh, and one little note about tapping these holes: the number 6 size tap is extremely brittle and small because of how hard they are. So be patient. Take your time, just a little bit at a time. I already tapped this first hole, and you can feel the torque on there. Once it stops, back off, half turn to a full turn, then go back in for another eighth of a turn or quarter turn, however far it'll go. But just be careful not to snap it, and also use plenty of tap fluid. Alright, so now I've got all my holes tapped for the base plate. Now I'm going to go through with a countersink, just very slightly, just a hair, maybe 1/64 countersink each of those holes, so that the head of my screw can sit in just a little bit past the hinge, so I can really get it in there and grab and hopefully get it as flush as possible where the two plates are going to meet. Alright, so now we've got the hinge mounted to the base plate. I went ahead and put a drop of red Loctite on each screw just for the sake of permanence, so I don't have to worry about them backing out later, so I don't have to go back and keep jacking with this tool after I'm done with it, kind of like some tools. Now I'm going to run over to my metal bandsaw and lop off the back of these screws, and then jump on my belt sander and get the bottom of this thing nice and flat so that it'll glide easily over my work table. Alright, so at this point I'm done with the bottom plate. Got the hinge on, got the screws Loctited in, shaved down the bottom of the screws. You can't really see because my iPhone video camera kind of sucks, but you can see they sit nice and flush, and I've got everything sanded down so it'll slide nicely over the work table once I'm done. There's a few deficiencies in the metal, a couple gouges that were already there when I bought it, but no big deal. It's not going to affect the way this thing works, especially since it's on the trailing end. Alright, so now we're back pretty much to step one again, just different piece. I've got the hinge lined up, already marked and center punched my holes, so I'm going to get those drilled out, get them countersunk and get them threaded, and get that nice and flush so the hinge can sit flush against it. But I'm not going to mount it yet. I'm going to wait because I got to get up here on the face, or what's going to be the face of it anyways, and go ahead and start getting my holes prepared for my handle mounts and my supporting pins up in the middle, as well as my adjustment screw down here. Alright, so I went ahead and center punched for my next drill holes. Gonna have a few different sizes. I got one for my thumb screw. It's gonna be a number 21 bit because the thumb screw I got is a 10 National Fine 32, and that's an old rusty one, but I've got another one in case this one snaps. And peened out some spots. That's where I'm going to put my brass rod through as a holding pin for the blade as it's connected to one of the holding bolts on the end. Similar mounting conception as you've seen in some of the other jigs, just only difference in mine is the way it's going to be manipulated. Alright, so here we are all drilled out. I've got my thumb screw hole here drilled and threaded. I've got my mounting hole for the handle notch here and here, and I threaded those with the 1032 also, so I can, of course, mount the blade with that. And I've got a little wing nut to lock it in place from the back side when it's on there. And next what I'm going to do is take some regular brass rod. I'm sure if you're making one of these, you probably got some of these laying around somewhere. And this is 1/8 brass rod, so I just did 1/8 holes. And now I'm going to try to needle nose a little eyelet there so I can just have a push pin that I can change places on. And so here we are with the finished jig. I went ahead and did all the last steps in one piece because I'm sure you can figure it out. Went ahead and screwed that in and locked it up with thread locker. Put in my thumb screw, put in the pin I made, and I've got my main holding bolt with my wing nut there. Pretty easy to set wherever you want it, and just put your protractor on it. It's perfect 90 degrees right now. Just thumb screw out, make it wherever you want, and should be pretty steady that way. The only thing I really may go back and add to it is I'd like to probably put a spring under this thumb screw just to give it some kind of tension so you don't have to worry about it moving around. It's kind of loosen the threads the way it is. I may put some Teflon tape or something on there just to kind of lock it in a little bit better so you don't have so much play in it. But yeah, overall I'm happy with the project. Pretty easy to build. Took me maybe an hour and a half with stopping to do the videos, and yeah, can't wait to see how it works. Thanks for watching. Let me hear any comments you have, any improvements you recommend, or if any of you build them. I'd love to hear your experiences with it and see what your final products are. Thanks.